Hey, what's going on, guys? We're going to do another news roundup in my car because I don't have time to do anywhere else. Every single time, man. Every single time. It's just like, oh my god, I haven't made a video in like a week. It's like, yeah, because I'm busy. So what we're going to talk about today. Well, lots of other YouTubers have already talked about Ralph Northam, my lovely Virginia governor, who I already bashed at least twice. I did a video why he would be a horrible governor. Just dedicated to bashing him because I hate his guts. And a second one, comparing him to Cliff Hyra, who I wanted to be governor when they both ran 2 years ago. So I've already talked about him a good amount. And other YouTubers have talked about him a lot in regards to his blackface KKK controversy and the controversy about his seemingly to endorse infanticide comments that he has made in regards to the abortion bill that he sponsored and wanted to... He proposed, whatever the terminology is, but got shot down by, again, the Republican Congress down in Richmond. I already talked about him last news roundup in my car whenever I talked about his horrible gun control policies too. So he is just amazing in seemingly doing everything wrong. In a nutshell, I have a governor. Back up. The blackface KKK thing, I really don't care about. Like, lots of people are like morally fagging about it and then like having the panties in a bunch because they believe racism is the worst thing in existence. They think racism is worse than infanticide. They think racism is worse than fascism. They think racism is literally the worst possible thing you can do. So, again, Blonde made a comment. She's another YouTuber. She's much bigger than me. He's like, oh yeah, this other person? Yeah. She's like, what does it say about our culture that people get more upset about a racist photo that happened decades ago? It didn't actually physically hurt anyone. It doesn't mean anything. It's all what it represents. It's just a photo. They get more upset about that than seemingly his comments tend to insinuate that he is supporting infanticide. And they asked clarification for his comments, and he seemingly just doubled down and said, yep, that's what I believe in. Oh, and gun control. Taking away people's guns, breaking the Constitution, all that horrible things. That racist photo is worse than all that. Because there was blowback from conservatives and libertarians about his gun control policies. They were pushed back from pro-lifers about his infanticide comments. But nothing earned him universal condemnation more than the blackface KKK photo. Especially from Democrats. Democrats didn't give a shit that he seemingly wanted to take away guns. Almost every single type of legal firearm you can have in Virginia now, because almost every single gun has more than 10 rounds. He wants to take those, make them illegal, and we will go door to door and take them. Or we'll fine you. And if you don't pay the fine, we're going to come arrest you, which is seemingly the same thing. It's like, oh, I don't support door-to-door gun confiscation. That would lead to civil war. Okay, well, I'm glad that you agree that it leads to civil war, because I agree that too. That's why I don't support any of that. But let's say, well, what's your alternative to the Democrats? Well, I support just giving you a fine if you don't turn in your guns that are now illegal. Well, what if I don't pay the fine? Well, the police are going to come in and arrest you. Well, then we're still in the same situation. Police are coming to my house with guns under threat of violence, even though I've done absolutely nothing wrong. I am just doing what the Constitution allows. That's the point. So let's get back on topic. The Blonde's comment, yes, that is how sick the Democrats' culture is. Shows how messed up their values and their morals are, that they are more upset about a naughty photo than infanticide and breaking the Constitution. Breaking the Constitution? They love breaking the Constitution. They want to do away with almost every single right. Again, I would take like an hour to go through everything, but I've gone through ad nauseum in my past videos how the Democrats want to do away with so many of the values and the morals and the rights that make our country so great. And they just want to do away with all of it. All in the name of feeling good, all in the name of social justice, all in the name of intersectionality. They want to do all of that. And that's perfectly okay. They feel so good about it. They feel so good. They think they are doing a good. They're improving this country by doing all that. But a racist photo it was 1984, so like more than 30 years ago. Nope, that is unacceptable. They're calling for his resignation. Not only are they saying that's bad, they think he should step down, which I'm like, well, I wanted him to step down. I didn't want him to hold office in the first place because his policies are horrible. See, that's what I care about. I don't care about what picture he took 30 plus years ago. Who the fuck cares about that? Who has time to care about that? Democrats, they have time to care about that shit. I care about his policies, and I went through his policies ad nauseum for minutes on end on why they're so horrible. I know I definitely brought up gun control. I'm pretty sure I brought up abortion too, because he is a sickening pro-murder governor. I'm pretty sure I said that. And guess what? Almost as soon as he got into office, the first thing he rushed for was taking people's guns and murdering babies. Man, he just fucking loved doing that. As soon as he got in office, that's what he ran for. And again, the Republican legislature down in Richmond was the only thing stopping him. Again, in my previous video in my car, I think it was two rants ago, of how the Democrats are so fucking radical in introducing such horrible policies. And both times here in my state, the only thing stopping these horrible, horrendous, awful policies that would wreak havoc on me and millions of other Virginians, the only thing stopping that is the Republican-dominated legislature. The Republicans control the legislature. They shot down both of his proposals. That is the only thing that stopped it. So it's turning me into a single-issue voter. Man, I can't talk today. A single-issue voter. The fact that one party is a bit better than the other one is making me say, okay, I don't agree with Republicans on several issues, but I'm willing to accept it in order to stop the Democrats from enacting their objectively much worse policies. And yeah, I won't like it. I don't like it. I wish libertarianism would get their fucking shit together and put forth better candidates and stop all the infighting, because I agree with their policies much more than the Republicans. But the fact that they don't do that, they seemingly unable to do that, I'm willing to compromise on certain issues that are not important to me in order for the issues that are important for me. And having a Republican legislature to stop these horrible bills that I fundamentally disagree with. Like, for example, I brought up Republicans, they brought some stupid bill in this state that they were going to raise the smoking age to 21. Well, I don't smoke. It doesn't personally affect me. That's stupid. Why? That's so low importance. On principle, yes, I do not agree with that whatsoever. Legal adults at 18 should be able to smoke. I do not agree with Republicans on that issue, and I will side with Democrats. The thing is, that is like a 0.5 out of 10 of importance to me. The abortion and gun control, that is literally two most important issues to me. So I'm willing to compromise on that 0.5 out of 10 importance in order to get the legislature to stop those bills that are 10 out of 10 most important to me. That's all. It's just a numbers game. It's just how much each person, how much are you willing to compromise? Because no party is perfect, no candidate is perfect. I have problems with the libertarian platform, some of them, but again, like 90% of them I agree with. So I'm willing to compromise on that 10%, and I can vote for libertarians with a clear conscience. Same thing with Republicans, even though the ratio is it's not 90-10, it's like, I don't know, like 70-30 or something. It's a lot better than Democrats, which is like, fuck, it's like 5 to 95%. They are so god-awful on every single fucking policy. Again, I went through Kamala Harris's stance on important issues. Out of like 15 plus issues, the only thing I agreed to her with was the war on drugs should end and that we should decriminalize marijuana and just have therapy and treatment centers more. Like, that's the only thing she said that was reasonable. Everything else, god wrong. Wait, god awful is a term. Can we put god wrong? I want to make that a term. God awful is already a term, and I already said she was god awful as the title of the video. But not. Oh, no, I want something more than dead wrong. I want god wrong. So to bring it back to Northam, the fact that this photo will most likely end his term in governor, that's the thing that's going to bring him down, is such karma. I love karma getting thrown at the most evil, heinous people. He supported such awful bills that would compromise my rights and the right to life to others who can't defend themselves I care about. Now he's getting karma because no one cared about those awful proposals. He wasn't going to be forced to resign as governor over those things. But this photo, no, that's going to do him in. And even though I don't agree with it, even though I don't agree that it should do him in, we should agree with the Democrats' logic that racism is the worst thing you could possibly do in the world, even worse than infanticide and gun control. So I'm going to go with their logic. Say, yep, he should step down. That's what gets him out of office, so be it. Let's do a minor correction on what we say the Democrats' morals and standards and what their values. I said earlier that they see racism as the worst possible thing in existence. Well, as a side note to that, they think racism against non-whites is the worst thing you could possibly do. This racism in the photo was directed towards blacks. That is the worst possible thing to them. But being racist towards whites, no, that is perfectly acceptable. In fact, it is lauded in their community. They are so anti-white. They push anti-white bills all the time. Anti-white hatred in the media every single day. Every single day. I don't watch the media. I watch other people talk about the media because I refuse to watch any mainstream media. Tucker Carlson is the one sane guy on TV, and I don't watch him a lot, but he's the one guy that doesn't make me want to vomit when I watch him. So he's pretty decent. Barring him, everything else is complete. It's complete fake news. It is complete bullshit. Every single thing they say is completely made up. For example, let's just put an example. The mainstream media constantly pushes the narrative that there is a epidemic of school shootings. There's an epidemic on white people, specifically doing mass shootings and killing people with the evil AR-15. Well, you can just look up stats. Apparently, for boomers, that's impossible to do. Not just boomers. I just don't want to call you guys out because there are a lot of boomers who can look up stats and they're pretty damn good at it. There are a lot of millennials and Gen Zs who don't know how to look up stats, even though they're on Google all the time, which amazes me that you can be on your phone and on the computer so damn much. You grew up with the internet. You are so tech and internet savvy, yet you cannot look up simple stats on Google to make logical arguments, to make any sense, to understand reality at all. So seemingly they are unable to do that. So let's take the myth that the anti-white media is constantly pushing. Did you know that only 300, I think it was 350 or 390 people were killed with rifles in this country per year? That's it. 390. That is absolutely nothing. 50,000 people die in car accidents every single year. To put it in perspective, way more people die from cigarettes, from heart disease, from alcoholism. Tens and tens of thousands of people. And the media is pushing that white people killing people with AR-15s is just as bad. No, Americans killed by rifles in 1 year is 350. Let's go with the high number, just because I don't remember off the top of my head if it's 350 or 390 per year. Let's say it's just 390. Let's round up to 400. 400. A percentage of those are AR-15s. You're telling me that 400 deaths is just as bad as 50,000. The amount of time the mainstream media talks about AR-15s and how they are so evil and how white people are evil and how mass shootings are evil and how school shootings are evil, it's 400 people a year. It is such a minuscule problem. It's the amount of time they talk about it versus 50,000 people in car accidents. How much time do mainstream media talk about that? On how we should reform, I don't know, driver's ed or have stricter consequences for drunk driving or, don't let people such leniency with DUIs so they get 2 or 3 and they end up killing people, or any sort of things like that to try to stop the whopping 50,000 people a year that die because of retards on the road. You know how I hate retards on the road. This series started with me ranting at people driving, how god-awful they are. Yeah, they were just inconveniencing me. But the 50,000 people, they kill because of their stupidity. We're getting off topic here. That's just an example. They talk about those 400 people killed by rifles exponentially more than the 50,000 people killed by cars. They try to make it out to be such a bigger problem than it is. When the amount of people we have in this country, the amount of guns we have in the country, that is such an exponentially low amount of people. That is not a problem. It is sad, don't get me wrong, don't take my words out of context. That's sad. Every single death is sad. And we should try to get down to 0. But the fact that we've brought it so close to 0 says that, yeah, it's a problem, don't get me wrong, but it's such a minuscule problem. We have so much bigger issues. non-white gangs killing each other with illegally obtained handguns kill exponentially more people than white people having legally owned rifles in mass shootings or school shootings. Exponentially more. Yes, the vast majority of school shooters and mass shootings are white. I'll give you that. But those deaths pale in comparison to non-white gang members killing each other with illegally obtained handguns. I think it's 97% of all gun deaths, not including the suicides. So there's like 30,000 people a year that die because of guns. 2/3 of that are suicides. I think it's around 11,000 who are actual homicides. Out of that 11,000, 97% of that is what I just said. Non-white gang members killing each other, and they did not buy their guns legally, meaning that gun control will not work. Shitting on white people all day long for having guns and having rifles will not solve that problem, mainstream media. That's just one example of the Democrat-controlled media showing where their values are. They do not give a shit about people actually dying for gun violence. They don't give a shit about that. They just want to take an opportunity to shit on white people. Say it's white people's fault. We need to take away your guns for your own good. We need to trample on your rights to keep you safe. What a fascist thing to say. I'm going to take away your rights. Second Amendment shouldn't exist. We just take away all the guns. White people, you're to blame for this because you kill more people. You kill so many people with your beloved AR-15s, your scary assault rifles, with your fully semi-automatic 100 capacity semi-round magazines. You are the problem. So we're going to take away your rights to keep you safe so that no one will die from guns. Every single fascist policy, every single fascist dictator has said that exact phrase, I'm going to take away your rights to keep you safe, as they stomp on you with their fascist big government boot. Those policies are wrong. Those policies will not solve the problem. It's just to take away your rights. You and my rights. That shows how messed up the Democrats' values and morals are. They don't actually give a shit about any of these issues. All they care about is taking power and taking away our rights so they can take more power. If we don't have guns, then they can further escalate their fascist policies. Case in point, Britain. Britain is a hellhole right now. Britain is a sign of what the U.S. will become if we give up our guns. Super high taxes. No future for the younger generations because the radical left has tanked the economy through high control of the markets. They do not let market forces decide things. They want command control, centrally controlled economies. They wrecked it. Took away people's guns so they can't defend themselves against the non-white gang members and non-white rape gangs terrorizing their communities who, what a coincidence, they have guns because they get them on the black market. Because again, the overwhelmingly majority of guns used in crimes are obtained illegally. So these criminals don't pay attention to the strict gun controls that British people have. The British people do because they are law-abiding citizens. Even though they don't agree with the law, they give up their guns. Big mistake. So now, when a gang member breaks into their house with a pistol or a sawed-off shotgun, what do they have? A butter knife. Well, they don't even have that. Well, the police are arresting people for carrying butter knives. They can't even carry knives to defend themselves. Tasers? No. Pepper spray? No. Knives? No. They want you completely and utterly defenseless while letting these non-white gang members and rape gangs just run freely with no consequences whatsoever. That is the hellhole Democrats want. That shows you where their values and morals are. If you even can even call them values and morals. They're not very moral to me. To the average person, they're not. As they get more and more radical with their policies, they are turning off more and more, mostly white people, because the non-white people still vote for them about 75% of the time on average across the ethnic groups. But it's turning people off. It's turning the younger generation off. They're slowly realizing that this doesn't work. So that's my rant. That's my rant against Northam. That's a rant against the Democrats. That's a rant against their hypocrisy, their utter lack of values and morals, what they really care about versus what they say they care about. It just really pisses me off that these Democrats act so moral and they act like they have the moral high grounds and they talk down to us, saying we know what's best for you better than you do, so we're going to take away your rights and everything will be okay. Just trust me, I'm from the government.